أهلاً ومرحباً بكم في متحف المستقبل. يرجى التوجه نحو قاعة حوار المستقبل، حيث يوشك حوارنا مع ضيفنا هذا المساء الدكتور ديباك تشوبرا على البدء. شكراً لكم. السيدات والسادة، أهلاً بكم في متحف المستقبل. نحن على وشك بدء حوار المستقبل مع ضيفنا هذا المساء الدكتور ديباك تشوبرا. نرجو التوجه إلى قاعة المحاضرات. شكراً لكم. Welcome to the Museum of the Future. We're about to start our evening's future talk with Dr. Deepak Chopra. Please proceed to the auditorium. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, حياكم in the Museum of the Future. Welcome to this evening's Future Talk brought to you by the Museum of the Future in Dubai, UAE, where we host different people from around the world and tackle subjects such as space exploration, sustainability, and well-being. Thank you for joining our session with Dr. Deepak Chopra, the world-renowned pioneer in mind-body medicine and personal transformation. Dr. Chopra has authored almost 100 books, published in more than 43 languages, including 22 New York Times bestsellers. Today's Future Talk will be followed by a guided meditation session focusing on self-discovery and enlightenment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Dr. Deepak Chopra. Welcome, and I am honored and grateful to have this chance to run this interview with you. You're the man who invites us to look deeper into our souls. Thank you so much.
It's a privilege.
So you had earlier this tour in this beautiful place, and you look at all those beautiful, incredible technological advancements. Yet there are a lot of challenges arising because of those advancements. How can we heal ourselves?
Well, technology is neutral, and you can't stop it. Technology is expanding exponentially, so we must adapt. If we don't adapt, then the principles of evolution say we become extinct. And you can't stop technology. The question is, how do we use it? You can use technology to destroy the world. We know that now. Nuclear weapons, cyber hacking, and all kinds of other things that are there at this moment, causing extinction of species, eco-destruction, war, terrorism, mechanized death. But the same technology can be used to create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. Because it's up to us. Are we victims of technology, or do we create technology for divine purposes?
Actually, I can ask also a similar question, since your latest book is talking about abundance and the relation between that and money. So are we victim to money? Or can we create something beautiful with money?
So what is money? Money is a human creation, right? There was a time when there was no money. It was just barter. You cut my hair, I'll fix your shoes. And then there were shells, and then there were coins, and there was copper and silver and gold and paper. Now it's digital. Money is the exchange of values. If you know your values, and you know the values of the ecosystem in which you operate, then you can make any amount of money, any amount of money. But money is not everything that we call abundance. Abundance means safety, security, love, belongingness, transformation, higher consciousness, insight, intuition, imagination, creativity, ultimately transcendence. Money is an important component. When people talk about happiness, happiness comes when you see opportunities in the midst of adversity. That's the essential difference, by the way, between people who are successful and those who aren't. Some people only see problems. Other people see the same situation, see an opportunity, even during the pandemic. But then money is very important. How do you earn it? How do you spend it? Are you financially secure? And having money doesn't necessarily make you secure, because a lot of people who have endless amounts of money are frequently the most insecure about money. So the search for security is actually the biggest cause of insecurity when it comes to money. If somebody wins the lottery They'll be ecstatic in the beginning, but in 6 months they plateau. In 1 year, they're back to who they were before they had all the money. Ultimately, happiness is a result of our ability to have meaning and purpose in our life. But the fastest way to be happy is to make somebody else happy.
Amazing. You mentioned happiness. How do you understand happiness, and what is the difference between happiness and joy?
So happiness is the opposite of sadness, and it's a contrast of experience. Every experience is by contrast, up and down, joy and sorrow, happiness and unhappiness, hot and cold. Joy, though, is fundamental before we get bamboozled by social constructs. If you want to know what joy is, all you have to do is look at a baby. It is joyful for no reason whatsoever. So happiness is for a reason, joy is for no reason. It's your essential state of being. And when you look at a child, what you see is joy for no reason, just for the reason that it exists. Curiosity, wonder, playfulness, friendliness, empathy. If you hurt somebody, the child winces because they feel viscerally what others feel. So empathy, there's a child.
He agrees with us.
She heard us.
Or she.
That's joy. Okay?
That's joy.
So that's joy. I don't have to explain it.
I think
joy
your
is
voice
truth,
comforts her
awareness,
as well.
and joy go together.
In your book, you've mentioned several levels for joy.
Several?
Levels for joy.
Well,
What are they?
Yeah, well, the several levels, joy is very fundamental, but then there's something called transcendence. And there are levels of awareness which we call soul consciousness, cosmic consciousness, divine consciousness, and ultimately what we call enlightenment. We can give them an experience right now if you want.
Yes.
Are you finding this interesting? Yes. Okay. So, say a little more enthusiasm, please. Are you finding okay. So now let me ask you the same question, but don't answer it. Same question, don't answer it till I raise my hand. Agreed?
Okay.
Are you finding this interesting?
Yes.
So the question is a thought. The answer is a thought. In between is awareness, which spiritual traditions call the soul. So now let me ask you the same question, but don't answer it. Just slip into your own presence. So instead of listening to me, just be aware of who's listening. Are you finding this interesting? That presence you feel is your soul. It was there when you were a baby, different body, different mind. Was there when you were a teenager. It's there now. And it's not in time. And because it's not in time, it's eternal. That presence is eternal. The body and the mind and everything else starts with a fertilized egg all the way to dusty death. But that presence transcends space-time. That's why every religion says your soul is eternal, it's divine, it's connected to the infinite being. So nothing more important than be in touch with your soul. Rumi, God's language is silence. Everything else is poor translation.
Wow. I have one more question about the young generation.
About?
Young generation. How can we teach them that? How can we help them to move?
Well, you know, younger generation, especially before they become teens, you can't lecture to them. They can see through hypocrisy.
True.
So you don't try to teach them. You have to be the example, otherwise they see through it. So you have to be the change that you want to see in them.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Chopra. And now I will leave the floor to you to talk about the concept of the universal being. What does that mean?
Universal being. So let's examine for 1 minute how you got here. When you first entered this planet or appeared before the 9 months that you showed up into the real world, or what we call the real world, when you were first conceived as a fertilized egg, you had 24,000 genes, half from your mother, half from your father. A gene is a stretch of DNA that codes for a protein. Stretch of DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, 4 letters. So the alphabet of life is only 4 letters, and they're abbreviated as A, T, C, G. And just these 4 letters arranged differently are the genes that code for proteins. So once that egg is fertilized, it multiplies about 50 times to create a human baby, which is more than 60 trillion cells, which is more than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Over the 9 months that the baby is being created, it carries the genetic information of every living species. So right now in your body, you have genes. 80% of your genes are the same as a mouse. 65% of the genes that you have right now are the same as a fruit fly. 99% of your genes, or 98 point something of your genes, are the same as a primate, as a monkey. Only 1 point something difference. But that 1 point something difference creates music, art, science, technology, the museum of the future, and everything that we can imagine. However, right now, in your body, you can't do a single thing. You can't move your hands, you can't speak, unless all your ancestors are present in you right now. So 2.8 billion years of life, not a single break. Single break, you wouldn't be here. Every ancestor, human, animal, plant, bacterial, is in your body now. You can't do anything without their help. Every ancestor. But before that, there's the history of the cosmos. Because you say, where do those letters come from? A, T, C, G. Well, they're made of atoms like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, which is 96% of the atoms in our body. And the remaining 4% are other atoms, iron, selenium, everything that you can think of. Where did they come from? Well, the atoms in your body right now were made in the crucible of burning stars. So when a giant star exhausts its thermonuclear energy, it begins to collapse till it ultimately becomes what we call a black hole or a singularity. During that process, hydrogen and helium, which were created at the Big Bang, and nobody knows what the cause of the Big Bang was, why did it occur, when it occurred. It was neither big nor it banged, but it happened everywhere all at the same time. So the atoms in your body came from burning stars. 50% of the atoms in your body are not even from the Milky Way galaxy. There are 2 trillion galaxies. And so 50% of the atoms in your body come from other galaxies. And they were sucked into our galaxy as a result of something called gravitational wind. So who are you? You're the whole universe packaged in this bag of skin and bones and squeezed into the volume of a body and the span of a lifetime. But that's an artificial construct. As soon as you get a name, you suddenly stop being the universe, you become Deepak. And then you think, this is who I am. But you're not that. You're the whole universe, as Again, Rumi says, Jalaluddin Rumi, we come spinning out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust. Look at these worlds, spinning out of nothingness. This is you. He says, don't act small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. That is what it means to be real. We have artificially created separation. I am separate from you. This is the theater of space-time and causality, when in fact, there is only one awareness, differentiating, not separating, into separate minds, separate bodies, but differentiation is not separation. Your eyes, your nose, your brain, your fingernails came from one cell. So they're the same, but they look different. And we are confused by the idea of separation, which is the cause of all distress. Every distress that we have comes from the separate, conditioned mind. When we transcend the mind, and that's what we call the religious experience, or the spirit, doesn't matter. The religious spiritual experience is finding your identity, which is transcendent, which means beyond space and time, the emergence spontaneously of qualities like empathy, compassion, truth, goodness, beauty, love, joy, equanimity, and most important, loss of the fear of death. Because that part of you, which we just experienced, that awareness, that soul, is not in time. So it's not subject to birth and death. That's the basic experience that is the basis of what we call religious experience. So religious experience and spiritual experience is the same thing. The baby gets it.
Yet we are separated.
Say that again.
Yet we are separating ourselves.
Separation is a human construct, just like time is a human construct. Time is the movement of thought that separates me from you and everybody else. Okay, when the observer and the observed, the seer and the scenery, the knower and the known, the lover and the beloved become one, there's no time. And actually that is a window into our connection with what we call cosmic consciousness, Allah, Brahman, Ein Sof, the infinite, which is incomprehensible. The infinite is incomprehensible, cannot be imagined, cannot be conceptualized, it's irreducible, fundamental, without cause, beyond space and time. So when you try to figure out that which is infinite, your mind reels with bewilderment. You shouldn't even try. So what is impossible to conceive is the basis of all things conceived. What is infinite is the basis of all things that are finite. What is irreducible is the relative. What is time is the separation from our connection to the divine, which exists in all of us as our awareness, as our consciousness, not as our mind. The mind is separate because it's conditioned based on culture, based on ethnicity, based on economics, based on history, based on our ancestors. We have separate minds, but we have the same awareness. And that awareness, when we get in touch with it and we are transcendent, then it leads to this experience, which we call loss of the fear of death, always happy to step into the unknown, because the unknown is the only reality. The known is the past. The known has already happened. It doesn't exist. So if you can step into the unknown, if you can be comfortable with what we call unpredictability, that is the basis of all creativity. Creativity doesn't come from an algorithm. That is simulation, that's innovation. But fundamental creativity, new context, new meaning, new relationship, new story, death and resurrection. That is the basis of all creativity. So if we can actually step into the unknown in every moment, we are free. Because the awareness of an experience is not the experience. The awareness of the mind is not the mind. The awareness of the body is not the body. The awareness of emotions is not the emotion. It is fundamentally free. We are fundamentally free. I keep going back to Rumi because he was such an amazing sage and seer. He says, why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? Okay, but the prison is the prison of the mind, true, which separates us.
And one of the barriers is the ego.
Yes. Well, ego, if you want to remember what it is, ego stands for edging God out, E-G-O.
Come again, please.
Edging God out.
Okay,
it's you and the divine. Ego is confusing your selfie with yourself.
So what should we do with it?
Ego is our personality, so you can't get rid of it, and you shouldn't, because without the ego you won't have a body. Okay. But let it take backstage, not front stage. When people act belligerent, when they act superior, when they act as if they're condescending, what happens? You should see when the ego becomes dominant, your body goes into contraction. So people say, how do I get rid of the ego? Well, that is the ultimate melodrama of the ego. You can't get rid of the ego through the ego. But when the ego dominates, your body doesn't feel good. It feels tight. And you bring your awareness to the sensation in your body, keep it there till the body relaxes, and that puts the ego in the background.
What are the practices that we can inject into our daily routine and in order to...
Well, we can do it right now as a meditation. So practices are self-reflection, what we call mindful awareness, metacognition, being aware of an experience as it's happening, also being conscious of the choices we are making in the present moment, and ultimately transcendence. So we can do it right now if you want.
Yes. So we shall start like a 10-minute session.
Okay.
Do we have to close our eyes or something?
Yeah, I'll guide people.
Yes?
It's okay.
So Dr. Chopra will guide us now.
We'll start with uncrossing our legs. Keep your feet firmly on the ground and your hands open. Both hands open. Use the backrest. And let's start with just observing the breath. The breath is our connection to spirit, or what we call awareness. If you go back to the Old Testament, you will find the statement that God created us from the dust of the ground and breathed into us, into our nostrils, the breath of life, and we became a living being, a living soul. So your breath is very sacred. Observe your breath. And when you observe your breath, you'll see it's a sensation. It arises, you experience it, and it subsides. We don't breathe, we are being breathed. Now bring your awareness to your heart and mentally ask the question, who am I? Don't try to answer it, just ask the question and see what comes. Who am I? What am I? Am I the changing body? Or am I the consciousness, the awareness in which the changing body is an experience? Who or what am I? Am I the changing mind, or am I the awareness in which the mind is a changing experience? Am I my ego personality, or am I the awareness in which even the ego personality is a changing experience? Who, what am I? Just stay with that. And now, mentally ask the question, what do I want? What do I want for me, for my family, for the world? Again, just be aware of any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that arise. What do I want? Go a little deeper. What is my purpose? What is my calling? In these turbulent times, how can I serve? How can I help? What is my purpose? Allowing any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts to spontaneously come to you. Finally, ask the question, what am I grateful for? Notwithstanding whatever issues I have, whatever stresses, what am I grateful for? Gratitude opens the window to our soul. What am I grateful for? Allowing any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts to spontaneously come. Okay, now just for a few seconds, softly open your eyes. Look at these shapes, colors, forms, and just mentally tell yourself, I'm the presence, the awareness in which everything is seen. Close your eyes now and be aware of sound. Maybe the sound of my voice. It's like the breath, it comes, it goes, but we are always there. As you become aware of sound, just tell yourself, I am the presence in which every sound is heard. Now allow your skin to be aware of your clothes. Allow your skin to be aware of this air. And mentally remind yourself, I'm the presence, I'm the awareness in which every sensation arises and subsides. Now generate a little saliva in your mouth. Taste it. Taste the back of your teeth and the roof of your mouth. Mentally remind yourself, I'm the presence in which every flavor arises and subsides. Bring your hands to your nostrils for a minute or a second. Smell your own skin, reminding yourself, I'm the presence in which every fragrance, every odor arises and subsides. Bring your hands back to your lap. And let's generate some images. So I'll just speak some words and see what image comes. Rainbow. Moon. Stars. A green valley. desert, sunset on the ocean, a beautiful red rose. As you generate these images, remind yourself, I'm the presence that generates everything that can be imagined. Let's now go a little deeper into emotion. So let's choose the highest emotion, love. Love is the ultimate truth. So think of someone you love, maybe a child, maybe a parent, maybe a sibling. Bring into your awareness the presence of someone you love. Bring them into your heart. And now feel the emotion that we call love. And mentally remind yourself, I'm the presence in which every emotion is generated. Now ask yourself, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. When you wait for a thought, it takes its time. So wait for your next thought and observe it as it comes across the screen of your consciousness like clouds in the sky. Thoughts are like clouds, but we are not the thoughts, we are the sky in which thoughts come, are experienced, and disappear. Only one thing remains, the presence. I am the presence in which thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. I am the sky. And now let your awareness move outside the boundaries of your skin. Let it go beyond this room. Let it go beyond the museum. Let it go beyond Dubai and the Emirates. Let your presence float across space-time, beyond the solar system, the galaxy, infinite galaxies. And remind yourself, I'm the presence in which the whole universe arises and subsides as my own sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. I am the presence in which the entire universe arises and subsides in every moment of now. And now please start to repeat your name to yourself, just your first name. I'm Miriam, I'm Sophia, I'm John, I'm Deepak, I'm Abraham. Even as you repeat your name, tell yourself, that's my name, that's not who I am. So let your name go. Just repeat, I am, with no name, no form, no history, no story, just I am. Finally, even let I am disappear and rest in your own presence. Rest in awareness. Be aware of being aware. This is who we are, awareness. Awareness has no shape, no form, no sound, no age. Awareness is not 5 years old or 105 years old. Awareness is not in time. We are that awareness. So rest in your presence. Be aware of yourself right now. And before we come out, feel your body, feel the sensations in your body. And as you feel your body sensations, just introduce an intention, joyful, energetic body. Joyful, energetic body. And now bring your awareness to your heart, in the middle of your chest, in the intention, loving, compassionate heart. Loving, compassionate heart. Bring your awareness to your third eye, between your eyebrows, with the intention, quiet, creative mind. Quiet, creative mind. And finally, let your awareness move outside the boundaries of your skin. Let it float with the wind. Let it float with the breeze. Lightness of spirit. Lightness of being. Lighter than the wind. And finally, relax into your body. Take a half a minute and then gently open your eyes. That was short, but gives you some idea. Reflection, awareness, and transcendence.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So now we have few minutes for questions from the audience as well. The first one. So we would like someone to help us with
The microphone,
mic.
please.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm coming.
Can you raise your hand
Can you
so she
raise
can see
your
you?
hand?
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Dubai. I realized that having integrity loses friction in anything that you do when it comes to creativity, hard work. And I would like to know your opinion as technology propels everyone to move so fast, especially in something that's called blockchain. Whatever that the mind can now achieve, it can now be achieved with coding. And I was wondering your opinion when it comes to what values do you think should be there fundamentally so that regardless of how fast technology moves, whether it's AI or blockchain, all of us in the next generation can still be human beings without edging God out. Thank you.
Thank you.
So look at what the collective consciousness is seeing right now. All you have to do is look at the news. What are we seeing? We're seeing war, terrorism, climate change, social, economic, gender, racial injustice, chronic illness, depression, and no joy. I think joy has to be the only measure of success. Joy has to be the only measure of well-being. Otherwise, you wasted your life. If at the end of your life you say, I made a lot of money, but I was never joyful. You were never like that baby, except when you were a baby. There are two times in our life when we are extremely joyful. One, when we are babies, and when we have our own babies. So at that moment, there's no ego, right? So think of joy as fundamental truth. And then use the technology to create a critical mass of consciousness in the world for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world. And now we have the technology. You have to walk across this museum, you see anything is possible, right? Anything is possible. So why don't we harness our collective creativity to do that? And we use technology just for that. Right now, what we call the metaverse and immersive experiences is our extended virtual reality. Because even this physical world is actually a digital world. This ultimately is digital world. It's atoms, particles, waves that are going on and off at the speed of light in some cosmic workshop, which whatever you want to call it. So as we extend the range of our experiences, if we just keep that in mind, love in action. Love without action is meaningless. Action without love is irrelevant. When you have love in action, the whole world will support you. So use your technology just for that purpose. And then hang out with other people who are doing the same. See, today social scientists are talking about something called emergence. Emergence happens when you have a visionary leader, and you're very lucky to have the most visionary leader here in Dubai.
Thank you.
You know, very lucky.
Thank you.
So you have a visionary leader who can recruit people in that vision. So shared vision, maximum diversity, which is Dubai's maximum diversity, complementing each other's strengths and connecting with each other emotionally and spiritually, every problem is solvable. Every problem is solvable with those issues. Shared vision, a leader who's visionary, maximum diversity, leveraging each other's strengths and dreaming together for a new reality. As John Lennon said, a dream I dream alone is a dream. A dream we dream together is reality.
Yes, please.
Dr. Deepak, it's a privilege to hear you today. You know, you talked about the atoms and the 2.8 billion years of journey. My question is that, when a cell, first enters into the mother's womb, the cell has an ability to multiply. So, but the cell will multiply alike. Now, at what point and who gives the instruction to that cell to become an eye, to become a skin, bone, liver? So all, because otherwise it would be a lump of cell which will be delivered. So at what point and who gives this instruction to that cell to behave in all the organs and the cells?
It's a lovely question. Okay, so we have, as I told you, 24,000 genes that we got from our parents. 24,000 genes. And only 2% of your genes actually are needed to code for proteins for your body. 98% of your genes are not producing your body. Only 2% of your genes are producing your body. So what are the rest of the 98% doing? And that used to be called junk DNA. But there's nothing junk. I mean, how can you say 98% of my genes are junk? Only 2% are active. So what are those 98% of genes doing? They are switching on and off proteins and genes. So now let's make an eye. Now let's make a nose. Now let's make brain. Now let's make fingernails. Now let's make hair follicles. Now let's make the genitals. But now means all is happening simultaneously. All is happening simultaneously. It's not linear. And your body also is not linear. How does a human body play a piano, kill germs, remove toxins, make a baby all at the same time? That's omniscience. That's omnipresence. That's omnipotence. So those switches that we call epigenetics, think of a master computer above this building. It's invisible, okay? It's not in space-time. But that master computer is in charge of every electrical appliance in this whole museum, including this microphone, including TV sets, including whatever. And that master computer knows exactly when to switch on this light, switch off that light, turn on this TV set, turn off this microphone, based on what you need. So that differentiation that is happening, we call it epigenetic. And then they say, what turns the epigenes on and off? The switches. They're technical names, methylation, deacetylation. There are chemical processes that occur. But how precisely? When do we have baby teeth? Then we have permanent teeth. Then we have puberty. We have hormones switching on. Everything is very precisely and mathematically computed for life, mind, consciousness, and what we call maximum diversity of experience. This can only happen if there is a non-local awareness, consciousness, whatever you want to call, divine mind, it doesn't matter the word, but there is an invisible field of possibilities that is infinite, therefore incomprehensible, unimaginable, non-conceptualizable. But without that, the universe would not be fine-tuned for mind and life, our own consciousness, and this, which is, I would say, God's dream. We are God's dream.
Thank you very much for being here, Deepak. It's been my dream for many years to meet you, and finally it became true. It's a blessing to have you here. Thank you. And I have a question about what you do for younger generation. You obviously speak a lot about children. You even have a book, Spiritual Law of Success for Children, which is amazing. So can you give us an idea what kind of school and education should really raise the conscious leaders? Because of course schooling programs and paradigms are changing now, right, to prepare for unpredictable future. What is your definition of perfect school right now?
So about 14 years I taught at Kellogg Business School and also at Harvard on and off, and recently at Columbia Business School, a course called The Soul of Leadership. Then I realized that it was too elitist, Harvard, this, that. So I started teaching it to young people. And the first experience was in a precinct of Queens in New York, where there was a very high crime rate. And every hour there was a shooting, etc. So we went to this precinct of Queens, highest crime rate. We taught them leadership. And the leadership is based on the word leaders, L-E-A-D-E-R-S. L stands for look and listen and create a vision. E stands for emotional and social intelligence, also empathy, compassion, getting in touch with your own emotions, learning to communicate without violence, and getting in touch with other people's emotions. So L, look and listen. E, emotional intelligence. A, expanding awareness beyond fight, flight, and reactive responses into what we call insight, intuition, creativity, higher consciousness, and transcendence, awareness. D, dream and do it, and create SMART goals. SMART is also an acronym. Stretch more than you can reach, make everything measurable, make sure everybody in your team agrees, keep a record of your progress, and set a time limit. So D stands for dream and do it. The next E stands for empowerment. You are beneath no one, you're fearless and you're immune to criticism, but responsive to feedback. E. R stands for responsibility, taking responsibility for your own mental and physical well-being, and always saying, I'm the cause of everything happening in my life. And then S stands for synchronicity, or meaningful coincidences. As we talk to people who are extremely successful, you say, what was the reason you were successful? They say the usual things. I was disciplined, I worked hard, But then they say something very interesting. I was lucky. Or they say, I happened to be in the right place at the right time. If they're religious, they say God was on my side, or it was a state of grace. So those are the 7 keys to great leadership. Look and listen, emotional intelligence, expand awareness, dream and do it, empowerment, responsibility, and synchronicity. Good luck is opportunity meeting preparedness. Now, this course can be taught in 1 day, in 2 days, over 6 months, over a year. I'm now teaching it planning to teach it in Sweden for the African community there, Ethiopians and Eritreans in Sweden. They have the same problems we have in America because they are marginalized communities. So we are teaching the soul of leadership to marginalized communities. We're also putting it online, and we're creating AI and deep learning systems so we can actually expand this course and reach everyone in the world, because our children are our future leaders.
Thank you so much.
Good. I just want to say, okay.
So this is the last. Yes, this is the last question.
Sorry.
You took it on me. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry? We have a little time. Yeah. It's like,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, time is a construct, we'll go with the flow. Actually, there's only eternity.
Actually, I wanted to ask a question. Thank you, Dr. Chopra, about eternity. I know you said we shouldn't dwell on it. You know, it's not something to think about. But you did say something very interesting about the soul being eternal. And all the atoms in our body, obviously, coming from the stars, and also as the stars with the rhythm of expanding and contracting. So why do we have death? Why is it that the soul is eternal, but the physical vessel is not?
Okay, so one thing...
One more question.
I should answer this question.
Can we just answer this question? Because I'm sorry, I don't know where is the mic now.
Let me answer the question.
Yes, please,
we'll
Doctor.
worry about the mic
Yes,
later.
yes.
So there's a difference between eternity and timelessness. So even though I said the soul is eternal, I should have said it's timeless. Eternity means endless time. Timeless means not in time. Okay, so who you are fundamentally is timeless. But then you have the experience that we call body and mind and the physical world. That is a modification of the timeless into time. And it's very necessary. So death and birth are opposites. Life is not either death or birth. Life is the continuum of birth and death. Am I clear? So death and birth are opposites, but life is the continuum of birth and death. If you stop that, if I say to you, okay, stop your evolution and remain a child forever, would you like that? If I stop and say remain a teenage forever, would you like that?
People said yes.
So the point is, death makes life possible. In biology, there's a term called apoptosis, programmed cellular death. So your cells, stomach cells have to die every 5 days so you can still digest food. Your skin cells die every month, but they remember the experience of pleasure and pain, and so on. So what is recycling is memory and imagination as the physical body. We recycle and we evolve. We recycle and we evolve. So, you know, again, Rumi, when I die, I will soar with angels, but when I die to the angels, what I shall become, you cannot imagine. Imagination is a never-ending horizon, and our soul imagines itself on a cosmic journey.
Amazing, thank you. Well, we can't get enough of that, and my apology to the beautiful lady there, but we are really limited. Dr. Chopra, is it okay within 1 minute? to have that question and answered?
Say that again?
Is it okay with you to take that question quickly?
Of course.
Just
I have
please
all
make it quick. Yeah.
Give her the microphone, though.
First of all, thank you very much for such a beautiful word that you're giving us every day. First, I listen every day. So I appreciate for life and living for you. And I want to ask something. If we have such a good and progressive technology that we can be connected and shareable, and what we can do to connect our awareness, because we need to be collective, connected. How can we transfer to each others?
Thank you.
So we have a program at our foundation called Never Alone. Never Alone. And we have co-founders, Gabriella Wright is sitting here, Punacha Machayat, the CEO of our organization. Check it out, neveralone.love. And what we do is we practice the 4 A's: attention, affection, appreciation, acceptance, and love in action. And our goal is to create an ecosystem online and offline for 1 billion people practicing love in action. And if we do it all together, this world will be transformed.
Great. It will be my pleasure to see everything, because I have something very great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Such an amazing audience. Thank you so much. I'm grateful, and I'm grateful to you, Dr. Deepak. Thank you so much for being here today. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, and I would like to ask you to remain seated for a few minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you.